Yeah, it's been cool to see, you know, on the new patch, what is popping up as OP stuff. It feels like Wukong is having a ton of success. Raptor also getting a win on that. It's currently 5-1. Also, Rel 4-0. So another big pick to be looking out for. Not necessarily picks that you would immediately think of as like the highest tier, but in terms of results so far, they're definitely getting them. There's the Wukong ban though, so giving respect to Raptor's Wukong play.
The Pantheon is gone. Varus and Azir are usually the ones that join on red side, although Shield will get the respect ban of the Gwen here in this one. So Poppy now banned finally. Could do some trading here with Azir, Vi, and Varus. You know, those are the big picks that are left available here that you would love to first pick. I'm kind of most concerned about Varus, to be honest, of these three in a game like this where you could just sit back and freely poke, get a lot of prio in the bottom lane. I'd like to see that banned because if I'm D+, I snap that one up 100%, especially with Showmaker's current form. But it is going to be Vi, so will we see the Azir or will we see the Varus? Those are the big ones here that are left available.
I would say take Varus for aiming 100%.
I would 100% take it. Like
Azir's really OP. Doesn't matter.
When both of these mid laners are arguably one of the weaker parts of their roster,
yeah,
you know, prioritize the good one, you know? Absolutely. Prioritize the Varus. Not the Trundle! Not the Trundle!
So are we giving them Azir and Varus?
I think they just did, Valdez.
Yeah, that's... I mean, Trundle
They don't even have to lock the Wukong yet. They could save that for the third spot. The Lee Sin has been a common response to this Trundle. I'm not a huge fan of it.
Yeah, we're not fans of Lee Sin here.
But it is not a lot of resistances to eat with the Subjugate. All right, well, this draft doesn't follow the rules of patch 25.14.
Rise group, baby! I mean, Lucian Braum is strong.
Yeah, it's good into Trundle.
But I do think that... Okay, well, Azir's just going to be ignored. And we've seen this matchup change a lot. Like, Taliyah is strong into Azir, but especially with the Azir buffs, it just feels like Azir is the king of the mid lane right now, even against Taliyah.
I really agree with you in that we've had so many times where Azir has just not been picked because Taliyah is up. And I don't think Taliyah is the counter to Azir. I think Taliyah shuts down a lot of what Azir wants to do, but it is absolutely still viable to play Azir into Taliyah. We've seen it 1,000 times. With the Lucian lock-in, they're going to go for the Senna Alistar here. And I think this is smart. You know, I have a lot of issues when teams are picking Senna with Corki up. And Corki seems to be one of the best responses right now. Lucian's still strong into Senna, but it's a lot safer to lock it in here. And since the Lucian was so face-up, you can get this. So now the Azir should be banned. Varus is completely ignored in this draft. Banning the Orianna first, even. They're like, they'll never pick Azir into the counter that we have here in this.
Showmaker's Azir has been pretty spotty, so maybe they're just giving a lot of credit to him to not play it, especially with the Taliyah hovered, although we talked about how that matchup is nowadays. But yeah, I feel like Showmaker might just go into something a little bit more comfortable, especially after his performance just earlier this week. He might just look for comfort.
There's no ball carrier really for this Orianna either. It's just a very bizarre ban to me.
Yeah.
Zed has been rising in priority, and when you have a lot of setup with the Taliyah, it can be strong. Everyone knows how I feel about Zed, but I think it's pretty good into Trundle too because of the mobility you have. And again, the Subjugate value is pretty low, so that does make a decent amount of sense. It also fits Raptor's playstyle. He can, however, still just play Wukong. Well, that's banned, of course, from the first phase.
Yeah.
If it were left up, he could. He wants to, but he won't. The Azir is banned, ultimately, at the end. So, I'm glad they finally checked that box, Valdez.
Yeah. Seems like they're back on the patch, it seems like. What is this last ban going to be? The Lee Sin was hovered, but we don't really think it deserves a ban. It's actually going to be Renekton, so they take that away.
I do think there's a lack of, you know, really strong tank engage here for the side of B&K. They have a Braum, which isn't the greatest engage. It's going to be great at peeling for this Trundle, but it doesn't answer the Senna at range. The flanking, you know, Taliyah could maybe get on top of the Senna, but also going to kind of struggle to set up that Lucian to blow her up. So this makes sense in terms of getting on top of that backline. So it will be the Ambessa they go for here. And Mbessa can, of course, just avoid all the front line and get straight into the back line and then buy that space for the follow-up to be there. So a strong pick here for Clear. Is blind, of course, now, so see what the response is going to be from Xiu.
Well, Ahri is available, but Vi is banned, so not looking like Ahri Vi. Also not going to be Ahri Wukong, because that's also banned.
Also not going to be Ahri Viego, because Trundle is locked in.
Yeah. OTF. I mean,
I kind of like the TF angle in this draft.
as long as you bring in a little bit more damage to the top lane, I think it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I do like this because it both really hurts the lack of engage here for B&K on the risky poke they're looking for, where they're trying to set up the Taliyah, they're trying to get in there with the illusion on top. Either of those champions get gold carded, pillared, and just blown up, especially with the Jace here to back it up. Feels really strong. And, you know, the top lane matchup here can go pretty well for Jace early if you space really well into the Mbessa.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit tougher later on as Mbessa gets eclipsed and she just kind of continues to dash into you and you eventually get shoved out. But a lot of control early, a lot of gold generation there in the mid lane for this TF. And like you said, they needed damage. Jace does answer that question. It's all about controlling these early game fights. The lack of engage seems solved though for B&K because they got both the Mbessa and then the Jarvan lock in. Jarvan is pretty tough to play into Trundle if you don't have that follow-up and you don't blow up the single target instantly, because once you go in, you don't go out and the Trundle will just take your resistance away and they will just kill you so quickly, especially with a gold card on top. So B&K need to pick their battles carefully, but I do think they have the tools to get on top of this Senna. And I think this is a draft where I don't feel strongly like either team got the stronger edge. I think if both drafts are played perfectly, I would give a slight edge to D+.
I am on the exact same page with you. I was about to say the same thing because it's not an easy comp for DK to play, but on paper, it should be very strong, especially into what they're playing against. I think the Braum can get a lot of value against the amount of pick that DK has, but I am worried about the level of execution. Will it be up to the task of this composition is a great question. Whereas on this side, sometimes you just send in Mbessa and Jarvan and you just layer damage and it works. We'll see what happens as we hop on the rift for game number 1. Here we go, game 1 of match 97. Have we ever gone beyond match 90 in the past?
Man, you missed me and Atlas's whole rant about this on match 91 day, where I was like, we're boldly going where LCK has never gone before. No, it's the first time. First time we've ever had a 97. We had the first time 91, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but
that's
also
crazy.
First time 97 is Beryl is playing against Braum at level 1 as Alistair.
Yeah, nice wraparound from Kellen.
Almost just dies to a flash from Diablo there. He doesn't commit.
The issue with this is that he's going to be late to lane, but I think they can zone out aiming pretty effectively even early on.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's Braum level 1 with Lucian, and he is PTA, so if they have an extended fight, it is going to be really frustrating. Just going to stay in this tri-brush for the time being, as we'll take a look at Xiu here for a moment. That spacing we were talking about earlier.
Look, bottom lane.
Yeah, it's happening.
It is happening. And the Alistair will help a little bit, but not all that much.
It is, yeah. I mean, at least Beryl didn't have to flash or use heal.
But he took Q as well, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because you kind of want Headbutt to just like push them away so that aiming gets a little bit more space. But now it's like, oh, aiming doesn't get space. And it's Diablo and Kellen. This is the duo with the highest duo kills in the LCK.
Yeah.
So that's more than Ruler and Duro. That's more than Guma and Keria.
Yeah.
That's more than, you know, Viper and Delight. It's Diablo and Kellen on top of the duo kills. And they know how to push their leads in lanes.
Yeah, and
they will do exactly that.
They will be doing that, as you say. So pretty frustrating down here for Beryl. Was the victim of that Braum at level 1. On the top side, though, things going a lot better. We saw the beginning of that. The Showmaker has an incredible win rate on the champion. He's wearing his skin. He is a world champion on this pick. Here's the the kind of rub I have with this comp for D+, like Valdez, I talked about how it's played perfectly, give them an edge because they have that extra flank angle with Showmaker here. They have the extra appeal for the Senna with it with the gold card. It's just so flexible. D+'s shot calling and decision making has often left us with like Shiu teleports by himself while the rest of the team is leaving, or Showmaker is coming into a fight all alone, or the positioning of Barrel means he's dead before the fight begins, and then Showmaker is vulnerable and gets engaged on. So I'm worried because if you asked me before this week, I would have been like, yeah, I mean, given the history of these players, 100%. But after watching the performance against Bro, we all have to wait and see is the most optimistic I can get.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a good comp, 100% very viable, very strong, but the execution has to be there.
Yeah, I mean, the pick potential, the burst damage they have is pretty nice with the Jace follow-up, and you know, hopefully they make a lot less mistakes. I'm sure that after that day, they were all very disappointed, went back and practiced a bunch. I think that it might just be like on-the-day form thing, or at least I hope. And, you know, Bro got the close win over DRX. It wasn't clean, but, you know, 2-0 on the week, so maybe Bro are looking better nowadays. This happens all the time where it's like the relative strength, and we don't know exactly at the very beginning, like, was DK playing poorly? Yes, they were, but, like, are they bad, per se, or is Bro good in a sense? So
yeah. There's also
I think it's a bit of both.
The element of when you're doing really well in scrims or practice, like anyone who's competed knows this, like you've probably had this experience when you were doing competitive hockey where when you're having this hot streak in your own scrimmages and your own practice, it gives you this feeling of like, all I gotta do is do what I did in practice. And there's so many ways that can actually translate poorly into a tournament, especially at the beginning of a league like this, because maybe you learned some bad habits actually through those scrims, or perhaps you became overconfident and then you were winning so hard that when you got up in the face of adversity, or you drafted a little bit laissez-faire as D+ did, you end up getting punished in a way that isn't quite like your practice, and then you got to recalibrate. So that could be part of it as well. Again, based on the reports we had of D+ scrims. I don't read too much into scrims, but it's all the information we have outside of that one best of three.
Scrim bucks are at an all-time low, I feel like, nowadays. Like, from years past, we used to put a lot of importance in it and talk about it a lot. Nowadays, it's like, yeah, well, that's a cool story, bro. Let's see how they actually play, because there have just been so many times where we hear, oh, they're playing well in scrims, and then they just kind of drop the ball. So hopefully they can figure it out. I would say that, you know, teams that are at the top of the Legend group, they can play that overconfident style, but DK, I think it should have been a reality check that, hey, we got put into the Rise group. And yes, we're the top team in the Rise group based on the standings, but we might be in trouble anyway, as we got a little Braum engage here. You can see about how well that went. It did not go well.
I mean, he successfully got rid of 2/3 of his own health bar.
Yeah, it went well in a sense, I guess. And now they're just standing right in front of an Alistar trying to burst down aiming, who just flashes away, but the damage not quite there to take out Diablo, who is playing on the knife's edge, but playing it perfectly too. And now it's going to be Barrel who has to flash away himself.
That's that Diablo diff, man, every time. Like you said, he plays it so perfectly and baits them in with the previous trade. They still have Summers, they got the heal, they got the barrier, and they have a lurking Raptor. So D+, also knowing they had the Trundle in the area, thought they could actually force the issue there. It doesn't result in a kill, but it was nearly one there. Aiming now down that critical flash.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he just stood there and took the damage from Lucid and Barrel and did not care. They're going for the re-engage here, as we got TF coming down here. Showmaker is going to flash behind the Braum wall, and he is going to do a bunch of damage, but not enough to take out Diablo, as who will be the first blood? It will go over to Raptor, but it is traded back, as Showmaker does get a kill himself.
Yeah, Vikla does have ult and is heading down here, but I don't think he'll be able to get a catch, so probably will just end up going straight back to mid lane. Doesn't have TP. In fact, he's just going to hold this wave here as they get the back, so a little bit disjointed now, the lane setup here for B and K, but he is Talia ultimately, so it won't hurt too much. But this is the eventuality of this is Diablo wants to go in, look for this pick onto Barrel, but the TF ultimate is such a big problem, and Diablo plays it well. Again, like he has flash advantage, he gets away, but now, unfortunately, this Raptor Jarvan is like in his own Cataclysm. He's getting stunned by the Alistar, and the peel was real. He does end up trading it, but I think it's a massive trade up for D+, because that's a TF versus a Jarvan picking up the gold.
Yeah, feels pretty good in that facet. BNK is going to maintain a very slight lead here. No objective plays just yet, but a lot of pings around the grubs, as it does look like both teams might want to fight for that one, with Vikla coming up here and joining. Makes it easy when your bot lane is mid to fight over the grubs, and it's Leah's bot, as you were saying. She can just ride the wall and come on up and just help out with these grubs, and that just means that DK will give them away. But it is some free time for Showmaker to hit this turret.
Yeah, Showmaker was a little bit behind in farm, but is now completely caught up because of this, and we'll get that plate. Vikla can rotate over here. We'll get, looks like, the last bit of these minions, just the last two, because of his passive. We just surf his way down. 3 grubs, 2 BNK feels really good, especially with this Ambessa that can spend some time inside. It's not the best side lane comp ever, but into TF, at least he's got 0, so that's a big win. It's a really even game here, to be honest with you, Valdez. You know, you and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday off camera. I think sometimes it's overstated that, like, they don't have enough of a lead. There's a Senna over there, and I think maybe there's just, I mean, D+ have a 400 gold lead already. There's no way they'll catch up. I still think there's a lot of league left here to play. There's a lot of mid-game that we haven't gotten to just yet, where the explosive power of BNK's comp can be truly realized. So D+ with that really cool TF ult, right? Showmaker getting value out of that early, has it back up now. That's often one of those old adages that Atlas says all the time, is like, how often and how quickly do you get value out of TF ult? When's your first ultimate, and what do you get with it? And Showmaker's already passed the test.
Yeah, it's like, you know, a lot of champs that have those very long cooldown ultimates that are game changing. You think about Nocturne in a similar light. So the 3 grubs did go over to BNK, and now they're going to look at the dragon potentially. No?
Looks like it.
Maybe at least gank instead. Maybe just a ward put down. Okay, they're going to start this dragon up.
The cool thing about having the mid prio early, you know, where you have your bottom layers in mid and then a solution into a Senna early game, means that you can group towards the TF that's bottom side, because his global isn't going to get any impact if you're actually taking an objective on the same side of the map that he is. So you can just push him in there and take the dragon for free. And at this point, you know, Shiu can get some small advantages in lane. He has a 20 CS lead, but it's not going to be like they can make a cross map there with Lucid to try to dive this Ambessa. So really nice lane setup here for BNK, and they end up being the victors of both objectives.
That's pretty big. We do have Mountain Drake on the way, so we'll see about which soul it is. A couple of really good ones. Actually, we're going to have an engage here, as we do have Braum coming up for the gank and a TP as well. Shiu is going to be run down. He's going to dodge that Q. Still has his flash, but I think at this point, especially with the Talia coming up, he's just going to accept his fate. And Vikla is given the kill after that nice play there from Clear.
Really good coordination there from BNK to utilize that global of the Talia. It's one pick that Vikla, I think, hasn't gotten a lot of credit for this year, but he has played really well, the Talia, and the simplicity of how you can set up picks with this. You know, it's somewhat of a mechanically intense champion in terms of where your placement is, but otherwise, if you just use your brain and macro well, as Vikla has been able to do with this team for their early game aggression, it just fits the bill, and he makes it work really well. He's put out a lot of the fires of this early game with what happened bottom side, and you can see this time just going straight up for the TP, knowing that'll give him enough space here to actually lock him down with the Weaver's Wall. Even the heal used here just to guarantee, and at that point she was like, well, just cooked. Unfortunately, my jungler and my support are just a little bit too far away.
Yeah. Very good timing there from BNK. And you'll notice that DK still have the gold lead. That is because of the TF. And that is the only reason. So Clear has really shored up his top lane, has made that pretty even, and then everywhere else, BNK are winning slightly. They also have all of the objectives, so feeling very good about their current state. I feel like 3 of the souls that we could have are actually going to be very good for them.
Yeah.
About Ocean, Infernal, and Hextech are obvious, but Ocean also into the poke, into the pick, I think is going to be very strong. And I feel like over the years, I've become a lot more friendly to Ocean Soul. I feel like it is actually quite strong.
Yeah, we've watched a lot of fights this year where it has been incredibly powerful.
Especially if you play well around it and you like take poke fights and purposely try to use it instead of just like, okay, well, our comp goes in, we're just going to go in.
During the time when we were, as a global team, pretty anti-Ocean Drake, I think was during the time where team fights were lasting about 3 seconds, and it was just like chain CC.
Yeah, it was CC Fest, yeah.
We still have a little bit of CC Fest, but it's a little bit more slower, measured setups on objectives. The CC Fest happens when one team starts getting poked out a little bit too much. Like, we got to do all the CC now because we're losing the poke war, but Cloud, or rather, sorry, Ocean gives you the win in the poke war to force that engage that's often comfortable, which DK might be looking for here as well because they do not have prio of this entryway. It was still 2 minutes away from the Dragon, but it looked like D+ really wanted to force something there. Look at where Vikla is right now with his Weaver's Wall. He can impact this play if they are going to fight. So D+ really need to be careful.
Yeah, you know, we talked about BDD, and are we going to have a fight here? We have Ghost popped by Barrel. He seems to want to go in. There's the flash engage on aiming as they get it done with the Jarvan, but the damage doesn't get down. Vikla finally takes him out, and the gigantic shove from Vikla gives them so much room in this fight as Lucid and Showmaker have to back away and leave Barrel alone. Only Raptor goes down, and it's a big win in a little skirmish here in the river.
It just makes no sense as to what D+ was trying to force there to me. I mean, I called it a mile away. I was like, this is risky. I don't know if they should be fighting for this, and what are they fighting for? And like, Vikla was already set up. He was like in the tri-brush, like, I think they're going to try to make some funny business happen with Showmaker's ult. Like, look at where he is on the minimap. He's like, this seems weird. Not sure about this one. And aiming, by the way, on Senna in the early game is not the skirmish champ you're looking for, especially into a Jarvan. So by the time Showmaker gets here, Vikla's already here, and everyone's just balled up on top of this Cataclysm, and it's super easy for Vikla to get the flip back. You can see this fight ends up being relatively close even still with the double 80 carry that Showmaker's essentially, you know, providing here. He's a secondary 80 threat in this skirmish, but unfortunately aiming just did too little, and BNK were so ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, Sundered Sky and Raptor, okay, Barrel's just dead here once again. He is going to flash, actually, so he barely survives, but, like, not exactly providing value, you know? Somebody has to go in there and get some wards down for the Herald that's about to spawn, but if you just go in and die, that means the enemy team gets the Herald anyway by default. So BNK should be able to get that down. But yeah, the Sundered Sky and the Locket got so much value in that last fight. Yeah. It was kind of insane. They survived for so long. Like, that 3-man knockup that came in from Barrel was actually huge. But as you mentioned, they just don't have the damage yet.
Yeah, I mean, BNK just were so fast to engage first and say, I see your plan, I see your tricks. There's another world where Vikla, like, interrupts Showmaker's ult and things look even worse, right? But he wanted to actually go up and try to match the rotation. His shove was phenomenal, but set up by Raptor in that situation. Those are the types of skirmishes you want to take with this BNK comp. Like, you want these fights. D+ are just like, you can have it. Here you go.
Yeah. By the way, I said the Rift Herald would be free for BNK. Not the case. They kind of just let it go and went for the Drake instead. And we'll see how that trade works out for them, as first turret might just go the way of DK at this point because they've got a Jace, and they have the Herald, which they're smartly not even going to use here, as nobody is here to defend, so they just say, well, we can use it on the next turret if we want to, or we can use it mid.
Hextech Soul is the gamble. BNK were looking for one of those high roll souls like you mentioned. You know, the worst one would have been Chemtech, right? But they statistically we're going to have a probably good soul here.
Yeah, 3 to 4.
They decide to go for that as aiming is the target.
All right, engage Braum. Let's see how it works out. It's not going to work out at all. TF comes on in. Jarvan, Raptor tries to follow up, but BNK are going way too deep on this fight, and they will be punished for it. As BNK, they just can't deny themselves a fight, and DK say thank you very much. We will take those 2 kills.
Bit of a head scratcher here on this one, but BNK want to take as many fights as possible, right, with this comp when it's at its strongest, but taking a risky one like this is at a heavy cost when now the Rift Herald is going to get charged in. It will be denied, actually, by this Weaver's Wall.
That was a nice angle there from Vikla, actually.
Really safe deny there, not really any counterplay from D+, so at least this gets shut down. But 2 dead here on the side of BNK after a forced attempt from Kellen. Like you said, of all supports to try to make this play happen. It's aiming who's isolated, right? But he reacts quickly here, and Barrel is there to peel. And I think they just didn't expect that. And then Raptor ends up taking turret aggro here, so this is just really unfortunate. When you have a pillar, it's really tough to get out. And even a Jarvan, who's already used his mobility, is just not going to escape.
Yeah. Like if TF didn't have his ult and Raptor went in at the exact same time, sure. But that was just... yeah, that was a little bit of a overstep there. Not the first time BNK have done that.
If they didn't have that Weaver's Wall, then they also lose mid-turret. So it's kind of crazy the risk that they took there. And now, D+ Kia taking a pretty significant lead in the jungle, especially as TF is rocking that Rod of Ages, starting to get more and more closer to transforming, and obviously has that TF gold advantage that you're going to generate over time with the passive. So this is a pretty good game state here for D+. Once again, aiming the target.
Yeah, they're not letting him play the game, or at least they're trying. And that time they did, about 20% of his health. So against the Senna, I don't think she's really going to care. But I like the effort there from B&K.
The problem is, like, Xiu keeps being the winner in sides every time they make these big commitments, and he's going to, get some free damage done to this turret. They are sending Raptor down. Meanwhile,
Lucid trying to take this. I'm not sure about that.
Raptor has flash. He is seen. Xiu is going to Ghostblade out. That was a close one.
Yeah. Maybe if he gets the knock-up, they can turn it into something, but no knock-up, no reason to try to force a Cataclysm with TP available here on Showmaker. Got to be careful.
Yeah, and, Xiu's still having flash, too. Can just react there. But did have to use his Ghostblade and reacted very quickly. Very smart. And he got some additional damage to that turret. That bottom turret is some standing gold that is going to be easy to knock down if he's given just a second. His teleport is coming back online. See the gold leads here. Again, we've talked about a mid and jungle for the side of D+. Aiming slightly behind in gold, but that's less valuable than the stacking he will have, especially with this Trundle that's getting bigger and bigger.
That was a very nice pillar. Now we got Exhaust and a TF coming in. He takes a while to die, but 4v1 not going to be very fair. As B&K say, well, you got clear. What can we get out of this? I'm not sure they're going to be able to get anything. As the rotation comes back in, we got a wall, though, coming over from Vikla. Trying to get at least a little bit of pressure. But meanwhile, Showmaker just looking for the inner and top lane. This guy is getting Omega fed in this game.
Yeah, he is huge. 700 extra gold here as he continues to take out these minions and stack more passive. 2 minutes away from Rod transformation. And that's going to put him, probably about halfway through 15. He'll be level 16 before you know it. And look at where Xiu is. He's like, yeah, there's a really low health turret down there, but I'm simply not going to be anywhere near it because I know we just over-index on top side. I'm not going to be a juicy target. I'm not going to be vulnerable.
What do you think about the Sadakon here, Wolf?
Barreled and Showmaker just TP mid, and there's a line of vision on their rotation over. I think this is a really safe take here for B&K.
Well, they know now. Do they have the damage is really the question. I think they do, and at this point, you kind of have to commit. As you can't pull off now, let's see how it goes. And yeah, Lucid not going to be able to get here in time. The damage is there. Very nice call from B&K. They're going to get a bunch of the petals on the map and just back away for really not a big risk. The only thing is that the dragon is coming up here in 10 seconds.
Yeah, they didn't really use ults outside the Weaver's Wall earlier, so it could still be a fight for them as long as Clear doesn't get eaten.
This pick comp is so annoying.
It's so frustrating.
And I mentioned it before, the Braum is going to be very good into it, but Showmaker kind of just ghosted at them, and they all had to run away. So that should be Hextech Drake here for DK on top of everything.
It's their first Dragon of the game, and it's not, I think, individually going to be as valuable as the Otacon itself, but at least they were able to get something out of this. Crazy that both this bottom and mid are still up, these turrets. Finally, Xiu will take down this bottom turret, and the mid turret with a group from D+ will also probably fall. They already got the inner top side, so Showmaker is so massive. And now Senna feels really safe. It's not about the gold lead that she has in this game or what items she has, but it's a game where he's stacked up to 50, and they have a big Trundle and a big TF, and this Alistar is going to give shields. And Showmaker, when he buys Majai's, his win rate is really high on those games. Like, when he buys Majai's, he's fooling himself, and it's a Showmaker Majai's game.
If you buy Majai's, I would say your win rate is pretty high, right? Because you're like ahead, you're feeling good, you've got a lot of momentum.
Yeah, he is on 3 items and a Majai's.
Yeah. It's a really good item for TF because you have to go the rapid fire cannon, which gives you that extra range, but it's no AP, right? So it allows you to just stay very safe, but also stack up a bit and eventually do a lot of damage. So feels very good, especially when you've already gotten a bunch of stacks.
And I think D+ here, how they're playing this 3-1, or 1-3-1 rather, is exactly how it's been played since the beginning of time. And BNK need to be willing to commit to killing TF, because the way Shio is being on the bottom side, he's just not putting himself in a vulnerable spot. They keep trying to kill him, and he gets away every time, as Lucid may have overextended here.
Yeah, he is in a bit of trouble. He does have to flash away. Bit of a wall comes down on top of it all. The engaged Braum, once again, not really going to hit, but Beryl is all by himself. He's like, hey guys, I heard there's a party. And then he showed up late when the cops were already there. So BNK just take him down.
This is a huge swing.
Kill.
They're going to get so much map control from this, and aiming's flash being down is huge on this Senna. Big mistake from D+. Oh, no way, no way!
Lucid! And the flash over the wall, Vikla! He's feeling himself today, 3-0-2. He says, I'm fed as well.
That's a shutdown, and Shio's in no man's land.
And they're forcing it. This is so smart from BNK. They know that DK cannot step up to this turret. Unfortunately, DK did not know that themselves. BNK getting a lot on the map here as they take that inner mid out as well.
Are D+ a house of cards, dominoes, or like somebody's sandcastle that's got kicked over? I don't know, but they're falling apart. They built such a lead. They had so much map control. Their lane setups were so good. They still have a gold lead, but this is a huge turnaround here. And they're trying to play through the fact that Showmaker's up here with so much topside control with this fed Trundle. But I think they don't really expect this fast rotation up. They're so expecting that the play is going to be to try to catch the Jace bottom side, where Shio was playing super safe, and then Trundle overextends. Beryl comes over to try to peel. He dies. The Trundle is flashless. The Senna is flashless. And then Vikla is able to make this play here, reading where he's backing. Blind over the wall, gets the flash kill here. But they're not done yet. They make the play in mid, pushing on to Shio, knowing that aiming doesn't have flash. He's the next to get punished. So as this is all happening, Shio's like, oh man, I'm just trying to hold this turret. And then aiming ultimately becomes the main target here as he gets collapsed on by Raptor. Great Cataclysm here. Down goes the Senna. So much map control now to BNK, and that side lane TF threat a little bit less of a worry now.
Yeah, you guys might have caught it, but we got a little clip of Lucid saying sorry to his team, because he knows, I mean, he was the first domino, right? He gets caught, Beryl gets caught, he dies eventually, does Lucid, and then aiming dies in mid, so gotta be very careful in the LCK. Any team, if you give them a little inch, they will take a mile, as now Beryl, looks like pretty smart from Vikla not to go that way. But still, Showmaker getting a lot of value in the side lane.
Yeah, he ends up getting another inner turret. And later on, if this game goes long, you know, he can start threatening the inhibitors themselves in these types of plays.
Clear with the interrupt. Yeah, he's going to spot him with the ward, and now Showmaker trying to ult away, and that he will. So, at least going to get the ult out of Showmaker, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't save the turret, but still pretty valuable. It's a trade of ultimates. The next Drake spawns in 45 seconds, and Showmaker will not have that valuable Destiny gate to spot out the positioning of this flanking Mbessa potentially, or to reposition. BNK trying to clear some Baron vision though first before turning their eyes towards what would, if they take it, be Hextech soul point for them. Interesting. They're going to grab that red buff here for Diablo before they rotate down, but this is just going to give D+ free prio on this Dragon. I think D+ read this well. They're like, I still have some vision on Baron, and you guys are all topside before the stronger and more realistic objective spawns.
Yeah. Let's see Lucid ghost away. He's a bit traumatized from what happened earlier on in this game. Or not Lucid, but he's going to run away at least.
Yeah.
Somebody ghosted. And now, Control is actually in favor of BNK. So
yeah, that was a really nice attempted catch, and maybe it's the trauma, but Lucid just concedes the point. Now, trying to push towards Baron is not realistic here. And remember, Showmaker doesn't have ult for 8 more seconds, but he is trying to look for that wraparound right now. He takes the safe, longer path around the left side here. And now that that ult is back up, maybe that's the play for D+. Look for the backline here. Shio also on the flank. Big shock blast.
Yeah, only going to hit Kellen, though. And so it might just end up being a flip here if Lucid can get in, and he's right next to it. The wall comes down, though, and Lucid's on the other side, and, well, he gets in range anyway and just smites it. Oasis, thanks for the leash. And, well, I liked the setup from BNK, but the execution was not there, and Lucid says, thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, the shove was a bit early there from Vikla, and Lucid just walks up, doesn't even have to flash to get in there, and it is just a flip. And now D+, by the way, with the recall timings for BNK are like on Baron, and BNK have to rush over to make sure it's not being done. It's not. and their comp doesn't have enough damage to rush it at this point, even with the TF that's this fed. Still a TF Senna comp, but BNK losing a lot of control, a lot of tempo after this.
Little super crab fight.
That one ward for BNK also super valuable next to the Baron, giving them additional information. As we're looking for potentially a pick here on the barrel.
Yeah, not exactly the best target. And he's going to knock Raptor straight into the team. He has to flash away, and now the picks are going to be coming out, but Clear shows up. And DK taking this safely. A big cataclysm, but he immediately dies. The follow-up's not there. BNK going very deep into this one. They take out the Alistair finally and force you to flash away. And now the picks continue to come through the gold cards. The center roots, the pillars, as Zing goes clear. He's in the backline by himself, and he gets burst down once again. As DK are playing this so well, just keeping them at arm's distance. And that's going to be the end of that. Vikla, though, pretty tanky. And he is going to push them away, so...
It's a 4 for 2. Still a trade up in terms of kills for D+, but they cannot take the objective right afterwards.
That was so weird.
So Raptor engaging on the barrel here costs them so big, because like you said, he loses a ton of health for this, has to flash away, and that flash is so valuable for getting on top of the set. Watch aiming for the rest of this fight. He's like, okay, it's done. I'm Senna. I'm just going to sit back. Gets cataclysmed, gets ulted here by Diablo. Still sitting back and healing. Flashes the ult from Shiu, so keeps himself at arm's length there, while Showmaker just sits here and helps peel for him. And aiming just layers in damage after damage after damage. Ults here. Clear gets on top of him as everyone on BNK is like, if we kill aiming, we could win this fight. They're not able to do it, though. And maybe if the engage is a little bit crisper there from Raptor, if they're able to start that fight off and he could flash on top of aiming, things could look very different. But D+ played it so well, knowing that all those big engage tools were already gone. The flash from aiming, his positioning in that fight, that's how you Senna. And he is showcasing it here incredibly well, now up to 83 stacks, and D+ now in the complete driver's seat in this game.
Trying to look for another pick here. A lot of summoners are down, and Diablo is just getting flanked from so many different directions. He's got a Braum in front of him, but it still doesn't matter. Lucid survives, and that'll be the end of BNK's bottom lane as they both bite the dust. We'll see if DK want to start up this Baron here. 5v3. I mean, Raptor's full health and his Jarvan, so it might be a little bit difficult, but still going to look at it.
And, I mean, at this point, Vikla needs to get a big shove. Doesn't have wall, doesn't have flash. So closing that gap is very tricky. Clear trying to find an angle.
Now, looks like they want to try to look for a pick to Showmaker.
No flash for Raptor, but he is Jarvan. They're trying to go in.
Clear is going to get to the backline. He's doing a lot of damage, but he's just one guy. He stops him from doing the Baron, which I feel like is worth, but it's only temporary, as now Vikla's just going to TP away. And DK say, maybe we could just do it now.
I think that was the game-winning fight for D+, to be honest with you, Valdez. They just go from strength to strength from there. They have the setup for Baron. It's really easy to slow play it there and punish all those low-health members of BNK. Low damage as well, realistically. As Vikla doesn't have flash, he tries to go in there with Clear, and they just focus Clear down and say, thanks for the delay on the Baron, but we're still going to take it. As this is just really proactive here from D+. Diablo is the target. He gets burst down. Lucid is incredibly low, gets locketed, but he's Trundle. He's so tanky. Gets that subjugate value. And then Clear here, I mean, you want to kill aiming, I get it. Like, you weren't able to do it last time. You're like, maybe one more try, but there's just too much D+ here. Braum also dead in live.
Yeah, not sure what was happening here. Probably just going for some wards and got punished. And yeah, a little zoom in on a Showmaker who did use his ult again, so that is how they found him.
25 stacks of Majai's, level 18.
He's actually a damage dealer now. Like, his cards are gonna chunk. It's pretty insane. He's on 5 items. He's full build.
He is full build.
31 minutes.
He has his Zonias completed. It's very difficult to kill him. He has unsealed spellbook, so he can kind of do anything too.
I don't think it's possible. Like, he would have to be very out of position. Like, they just don't have the engage tools to do it, which is part of why forcing Lucian Braum sometimes can get you in trouble if DK are going to draft like this and play it out very intelligently. So we got a little wall here. Nice little knock-up on a Shiu. And a little TP flank from both, but they're both now out of the fight. The two of them are just not here. They're just not in the fight at all. as the 2 damage dealers just get eaten alive, and that's going to be the end of Raptor as well, as there's the chunk from the card, and I think DK have done it in a very clean game number 1 victory.
Great start here for D+. I know D+ fans are worried about the pattern where game 1 always looks great, but this was a really strong showcasing of how to play this comp. That was the biggest doubt I had. Will the coordination be good enough? Will the peel be good enough for aiming? And the game-winning fight showcased it. Absolutely, it was. Showmaker going golden as the Nexus falls. Bit of a redemption story for him in this first game, but it was more than just Showmaker. It was more than just the TF plays that got D+ across the line. It was the positioning of aiming. It was Barrel constantly locking the front door, making sure that there's just no way they could close that gap. And D+ will bounce back in a big way. There's still a lot of series left in this BO3, Valdez, but a good start here to say the least.
Yeah. Hoping for the DK win as their form just keeps going up from the Pro Series. And hopefully it does continue for their sake. BNK, I feel like there were some moments for them. You know, it's kind of close. Even at like 24 minutes-ish, you could see that the gold was only like a difference of maybe 1K. And that's with a TF on the enemy team. There were opportunities for them, but they couldn't quite hold on. And the second you dive deep into their blue buff jungle against a team that can just keep that much distance, you're not going to have a good time. And that is exactly what we saw in that one team fight. So D+ Kia up 1-0 here over BNK FearX. We'll see what happens after the break, if BNK can tie it up, or will DK continue onto the 2-0.
난 좀 앞에 용 한번 빨리 챙기고 그냥 접다 이거. 용을 먹고 더 하는 게 낫지 않아? 그러니까 야 탈려 맞아. 뭐야 탈려. 쌈보자. 용 같은데? 나 끊었어. 자르방 끊었어. 야 루시안 볼게. 천천히.
자르반 딸피.
루시안 잡았어. 앞으로 지르자. 앞으로. 탈려. 뭐야 땡큐. 끝내자. 확인. 잡았다.
I've been feeling it since the beginning of the day. I just feel like there's going to be an Ivern.
Okay, well, maybe you'll be right. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think there'll be an Ivern today, even though Lucid does enjoy a little Ivern action every now and then. Let's see if we're going to ban the Varus this time. That was completely ignored in Game 1's draft. Pantheon, pretty non-negotiable right now. And not because of buffs or anything like that. I think the mastery of the champion has just gone up so heavily that people really know how to play the global. And before it was only the veteran jungles that really maximized it, but now even some of our younger junglers are like, oh, this is actually quite simple. Practice it enough. Viband on blue side here from B&K. So no interest in playing that one, even though the RE didn't get locked. And so that would have been available.
Yeah. seems definitely a bit interesting, but nowadays, you know, if you pick the Vi first, you're kind of locked into a very aggressive composition, and maybe they feel like they can just get countered compositionally by DK. You seem to be drafting well today. The Azir ban is nice. Good to see that. So
Maybe
that's one step out of the way.
Could ban Xinjiao here as BNK on this final spot. So if that Varus is left up, you just snap it up. There isn't a great answer.
Yeah, or you ban it and you pick Wukong.
That's
if you really
also-
want to
Yeah.
allow Raptor. I like the Aurora ban too.
Maybe fishing for a Gwen first pick here. It was banned in game 1. So another big potential angle here. So now if they ban Gwen, you're like, well, I get Wukong or I get the Varus. So that is one of the considerations here. I think Wukong pretty good into Varus.
Yeah. Maybe they just leave all three open. They say, okay, you get one, and that's what they're going to do. You get one, we get two. Although, you know, we thought that last draft, and then they picked Lucian and Talia.
Rumble is also still available into the Gwen, so I kind of like Varus the most in this situation, but with the Aurora ban, I think we all kind of knew this was the angle of approach that BNK was looking for, especially with how both teams completely ignored Varus in game 1.
I'm a Wukong believer. I feel like they should have just gone Wukong and tried to get Rakan as well, and try to like threaten that, you know. It's just really strong.
It does feel pretty good to get Varus and Wukong, and then try to outrange as well as be able to heal. And they can't play Wukong into your Varus.
DK could do that.
Yeah, they could do that. I have a feeling they won't. They will get the Wukong. I mean, that part, it would be silly not to get. It could be Wukong Rumble, if they want to play the Rumble into this Gwen. The Jace, of course, which is one of the other responses, is gone, is Fearless banned, so those are your main options here. I would be, and also the Ambessa that Shiu loves to play into Gwen is also Fearless banned. So it feels like it's got to be that Rumble angle.
Or you go Ari for Showmaker, another option. As he's talking with the team, it seems like maybe. But Rumble feels like the best.
This is such a predictable draft, you know? And
Yeah.
now it's like, well, we didn't ban the Xinjiao, so I guess we'll take that. And the final pick here could be the Varus. But that has not been...
He doesn't exist today.
No, he's really strong, I'm telling you. Okay, Diablo's a knower. Diablo's played so much Varus in his career, especially in the CL days. Like, there's no way. Okay, whew. Starting to get a little bit concerned that Varus was like secretly globally
You were
banned.
saying it was predictable. I'm like, I don't know if I can predict either of these teams today. Like, they're just not doing the things that we would expect them to do. But yeah, finally they do. The Varus comes through. And will it be Ari? Will it be something else? Syndra is something he's gone to.
I like Ari more here.
He has to blind pick. Orianna.
Orianna's good with Wukong.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Orianna ban in the previous game with the Trundle setup, but this time it makes a lot more sense. And it works well with Equalizer too. If you can set that up, there's big combos you can see. The bottom lane though is a little bit concerning because you're playing into Varus and it's going to be protected here by BNK in this next phase. As Galio, it's a pretty smart answer here. Can be quite strong into these types of Wukong drafts, especially with all the magic damage that they have already. So do you want to ban Caitlyn? We've seen Caitlyn banned into the Varus. Do you want to ban like a range support like the Bard we've seen try to attempt to stave off the pressure? Do you want to ban Ezreal, which is relatively safe here? Used to be countered by Varus. The Sivir is a great ban. Incredibly strong for the mid game. One of the only champs that can kind of match the Varus in mid lane with her wave clear. That's another one that's always feels like it falls off my radar, but has been so strong here in the LCK.
It is skyrocketing in terms of priority for sure in our drafts, and I think it's amazing with their composition as well. So good ban. Seems like definitely a good idea. A lot of thought going into this final ban here, and it will be the Nautilus.
Yeah, the engage is somewhat lackluster here for BNK. That does make a decent amount of sense here. The Caitlyn I mentioned is so rare in the LCK, and we don't see it with drafts like this, but it has been picked into Varus sometimes. I don't think this is going to be one of those scenarios. Perhaps they just ban, well, I was going to say the Ezreal, but this is the Rel they take away instead. I don't think it's unplayable if D plus Kia went for something like Ezreal Karma that can deal with the Varus decently well because they have that Wukong engaged and they have the ball set up, and the extra speed the Karma is going to give the Wukong feels pretty good. But you know, we're starting to get a little bit limited in engage, so I think.
How about a Bard?
Bard was the champ that I was talking about earlier.
Jin Bard.
It is going to be Jin Bard.
It's going to happen. Because Bard with like Orianna Wukong is just it's OP. Like we've seen this combo a lot.
What if it gets
we saw it just yesterday. Although I think picking Rakan for the Wukong could have been really good too.
We are still looking for Vicla's pick here. Don't know what he's going to be locking in. It doesn't feel like a great Sylas angle, just because there's so many things that can interrupt what you are trying to do. He could look for, even though Orianna is considered a pretty good matchup into it, the Ryze, just because of the Gwen side lane power this draft has, and the extra damage that he would provide. And, you know, I mean, that's... Otherwise, maybe you go Victor here. Ahri is a bit of a funky one.
We saw
Not a big fan of
Vicla
this.
saying it like 7 times. So he's like, yes, give me Ahri, 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 Ahri. So a bit of a choice from him.
I'm not a big fan of this because I think while the setup is somewhat there, backline access is so tough. This would be such a barrel move to lock in the support Maokai here. Great into the Rakan. Honestly, I prefer it to Leona. I really do, especially with this draft that has such great follow-up for the ultimates and the zoning that it's going to provide. Maokai into Gwen means that Gwen, for a brief period of time, just doesn't get to play the game. She's not able to actually flank. If she's caught, she can't actually close the gap and do any damage. Her whole kit revolves around her getting on top of people and getting in melee range, and Maokai shuts that down completely. Not to mention, this is so good into Rakan.
It's another great ball carrier as well. You saw that he was going for Leona or Maokai. It's like, well, this is just an option for me to press flash, click on a target, probably Varus, right? That would be the best target, and then just have Orianna Shockwave on top of me. So it's very easy, right? You press your ult, you look for a vulnerable target. I like this pick for Beryl, especially given his current form.
And Bard is a little bit more fragile. You know, Bard is a little bit more punishable, so I'm going to tend to agree with you, even though the Bard would have been great here and is what we expected. I just kind of thought they'd go a little bit more down the standard path, but this is such a barrel pick. In Game 1, we said if played perfectly, we really liked the way that D+ could play out Game 1. I wouldn't say they played perfectly, but when it came to those critical game-deciding fights, they basically did, right? Aiming was great, the peel was there, Showmaker side laning, the macro was good. This draft, I feel very strongly that D+ has the edge in, and I do feel like they've proven with their performance in Game 1, they should be fine here. My big question mark for the BNK draft is how does this Ahri work into a composition that punishes it so incredibly hard? Like, it's really hard to get backline access and get away with it.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Let's see what it looks like here as we hop on the rift for Game 2. Alrighty, we are here. Game number 2. BNK versus DK. And D+ Kia seem to have their form back. But again, that was Game 1. So
we have seen it before.
We have seen it before where we get into Game 2. It's red side, something goes wrong. And I mean, this draft has not gone wrong by any means. This draft is extremely strong. It has so much synergy. You know exactly what it's doing. It plays itself, kind of. You do have to execute the team fights at least. It's not like Malphite where it's like, okay, I just press R button on them. It does require a bit of coordination. You got to have Lucid and Showmaker on the same page, ultimates that are actually flying at the same time, so that kind of thing. But
because
it's still relatively easy.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Because of how team fight warping Maokai's ultimate can be, I think he's one of the best supports at utilizing Unsealed Spellbook Teleport because he can show up at an angle that you don't expect and impact a team fight from so incredibly far away without really any inherent risk to the Maokai himself. So Barrel's Unsealed Spellbook here, I think there will be a moment or two where we see that teleport come through and you're like, oh, well, that means they either have to leave or, you know, they might get punished, especially with how strong we've already talked about how this ultimate is in team fights, as Aiming's getting some extra damage in here early. Waiting for that 4 shot, uses it on a minion. I looked up Vicla's Ahri stats because this is a pick I really associate with him, especially back in his KT days.
Yeah.
Before he went to North America, you know, Papa Smithy grabbed him up and he spent some time over there. It is his 4th most played champion. And of his top 4 champions, it's the 2nd highest win rate, which is a fairly low one, I'll admit. It's at 47.8, but it's above his average. You know, he's been on a lot of struggling teams in his career.
Exactly.
So it's a comfort pick is what I'm getting at, and I think that's why he opted into it here. It's not unplayable. You know, the Orianna is relatively immobile. The Jhin is very immobile, even though he is going to have, obviously, the Wukong and the Maokai and Cleanse to support him, but his mastery is there, you know?
He knows how to play the champ.
He knows how to hit Electrocute, all right?
That's for sure.
He's going to make it happen.
It's going to sound funny after seeing that trade, but I don't rate Ahri in the matchup into Orianna. I feel like you can tank a lot of the burst from the Ahri and just take really good extended trades as Ahri in the lane in the long term, but obviously if we're going to get full comboed, it's not going to look very good. So Showmaker goes back, he has to TP back in the lane, and hopefully avoid some more of those charms as it comes along here.
You command protect the Foxfire, and even if you eat an Electrocute from an auto, you're feeling okay, especially as you start to get more AP. I'm 100% on the same page as you with that. Look at TPing to the river here, actually trying to get maybe a sneaky charm angle off, but I don't think Showmaker will be caught by this at all. Helps secure the scuttle for Raptor as well as he comes up to the top side here, potentially looking for an aggressive play. Will be seen by the ward. That predictability on this one is quite high. She was definitely a knower.
Yeah, I mean, he has the ward in the tri-brush, and he sees Raptor running straight down the lane, so very well known. He's gonna try to go back to the turret. He flashes underneath and he gets in, but now he's got to tank this wave.
It looks like he's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
it didn't look good. It looked a little bit funky, but he is actually gonna be fine.
Is he gonna die to the wave?
Nah.
And I guess Clear's too low to actually dive, so very funky maneuvers.
Honestly, imagine he dies to the wave at the last second there, gets executed, and gets the faster back. Would have been super sick. He like gets the last minion as the auto is flying, gets executed, and then comes back. He's like, cool guys, don't look at ranged minions that explode when they hit by turret shots as they get executed and go back to lane.
Yeah.
That's what he would have said.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that was a close call, but there was a lot of information about what BNK were looking for there. And even though it was a greedy play for Xiu to then get back to the turret there, does not get punished. He lost a lot of farm, though, on the play. Like, it was not the worst possible scenario. He handled it well, but the end result still is a big win for BNK.
Yeah, you saw, like, the level 2 to level 1 trade that it was already going pretty well. Lucid's here. Could try to just clone in. And let's see if he does. The timing is not the best, and he's gonna get knocked up as now in goes Barrel, straight into 3 people, has to run away and heal. Aiming's here, so maybe, but no, they're just gonna back away. They don't really feel confident about that fight after the way it started.
And no summoners used, of course, outside of the smite for BNK in that exchange. So that ends up being pretty nice for them. Barrel loses heal. Nice sidestep.
There's one thing Diablo's got, it's hands.
Yeah.
Like, we know this guy can play the game. That's 100% sure. Our issues with him in Challenger were just that sometimes he was just way too over-aggressive, right? But it feels like over the years and over his time in Challengers, he's really been able to kind of mellow out a little bit. Like, he still has that edge, that aggressive edge for sure, that gives him kind of that personality as a AD carry, but certainly is much better nowadays.
We've seen a few players like this in the LCK that, you know, have different trajectories. It really reminds me of Taeyoon a lot, to be honest. Remember Taeyoon's super aggressive tendencies. We'll talk about that later. Xiu flashless here.
Gotta dodge the knockup. He can't quite dodge that. A bunch of needles go in, and Kellen's just gonna easily take that one up. First blood is given over to Clear as they're really bullying Xiu in this top lane.
Yeah, they get his flash. They make the second pass up there, this time with Kellen. And Lucid is going to just have to take the consolation wave here, at least be able to pick up a lot of that farm, but definitely not what they were looking for. TP here for Kellen will allow him to get straight back to the lane here. So much value out of Unsealed Spellbook right now. It's no surprise supports are taking it. As everyone's been talking about like for years, like maybe support should take TPs sometimes. Well, with Unsealed, you get to have the combat summoner and the TP. You mentioned it, Shield with some nice footwork to try to avoid everything, but he just doesn't have enough space or speed there without flash to get away from the knockup, and does end up going down. Maybe if he didn't sidestep at all there, he gets just enough distance, but that's a bit of a nitpick there. I think probably dies no matter what.
Yeah.
So they got the topside play onto Shiu, get his flash. The follow-up gank from Kellen kills him, and they got the Drake. See if they can now turn this into the full objective take, as right now Raptor is clearing from bottom to top here, and they have full vision control of the Grubs. D plus 500 gold behind, not the end of the world here, but losing everything on the map, as well as their Rumble that's now 20 CS behind in the counter pick for Shiu into this matchup. It's definitely not the start D plus we're looking for.
Yeah. Saw Kellen walk by his old teammate and just give him a little thumbs up. Showmaker immediately says, "We're not friends," and throws his ball at him. And now we got these bottom laners in the top lane.
Raptors coming up. And prior to Lucid right now, on this Wukong, such an incredible ultimate here at level 6 as Cyclone could potentially be, but they're losing Prio on the top side very quickly. No TPs for either top laner, so they will not be involved in this exchange unless this fight goes real long. Lucid just doesn't have a great angle of attack here. The positioning great for Diablo. And it looks like at least the first grub goes over, but it might just be a 2 and get out.
Yeah. You remember BNK in game 1 got all 3 of the grubs. And DK, I mean, they certainly want to get at least one, maybe a little engaged as well. Double knock up into the shockwave as the circles are there, but it doesn't matter because Wukong's in there with them. And Raptor's on the run. Aiming is just playing with Diablo up on the top side, not really a part of this fight, but it's 2 kills for DK plus a little bonus grub. Feeling pretty good about that fight.
Absolutely, huge swing of gold now into D+'s favor. 2 critical missed charms for Vikla there. The first one at the beginning of the fight, right before the trigger is pulled by Lucid and Showmaker, and then misses one there at the end to try to attempt to peel, and ends up being 2 kills over 2 D+. Was about 500 to 700 gold the lead for BNK, and now it's D+ with a similar lead after that. Picking up those 2 grubs, denying them from the Gwen specifically. Does feel great. And we weren't already a big fan of how this Ahri works out, but Orianna 20 CS ahead as Kellen looks to try to change the story.
Woo! That was a sick sidestep. Oh man, Showmaker, he is playing very well tonight at least.
See him wipe that sweat off his hands right afterwards as well. He's like, I'm locked in.
I mean, he just knew. Oh, that was just so good.
That was
Can we get a replay of that?
We might, but probably not because nobody dies.
Yeah. Well, Aiming's here. Oh, there's the replay. Okay. Aiming is going to flash away. Oh, the needles are going to miss. And Barrel's here. As maybe now you can watch the replay, the sidestep. Oh, and then the dodge on the charm as well. Just really, really cool.
So this charm misses, because that could have been an engage on the Lucid where they actually drop the grub and maybe look for something. But then Lucid gets the free engage here with Showmaker with the orb. And then as the curtains are called, like this is just a call to get out. Vikla misses this charm as well. I mean, if he hits Lucid, maybe it can make something of it. Showmaker doesn't really affect the play, but Vikla, a bit of a rough one here. Now finds himself 800 gold behind. They will get the dragon after that successful gank onto Aiming. He doesn't die, but it's enough pressure there to give him a 2 Drake lead again. And it's once again a high value soul here with the Drake lead for BNK. This time the Infernal Soul. Tempo Shockwave.
Yeah, he doesn't even have like real items yet. It's just an Archangel staff that's not even fully stacked. So the Zori going to get scary as the game comes along. I feel like Cloud Soul would have been actually fantastic for BNK, but Infernal's still good. So
the itemization here for Vikla as well is interesting because it's kind of like I will lose this lane less in the matchup I've chosen for myself. And the Archangel's lead here is significant, but not sure if this is the build I would have chosen for what we're trying to do. Is he's in trouble.
Yeah, Vikla does have a Spirit Rush, doesn't want to use it as the root comes down for the angle. I think he could have hit him there, but just a little bit off.
I'm never confident about Jhin angles, only Kuma knows.
All right, well now Showmaker, this time Kellen says, all right, second time is the charm. You don't have flash, you're just dead. You're not getting away from the quickness. Meanwhile, DK are just sieging bot turret.
Okay, well, that was not the trade up that D+ were looking for, but still a lot of pressure on that bottom side of the map. And they do get flash out of Vikla. Was a nice angle there, and like you said, maybe that Jhin shot could have hit there with the root. That was max range there from the side of Barrel. And over here, this is just Diablo hits a Chains of Corruption, and Kellen's there to keep the lockdown there. So with a lack of flash, Shoemaker can do nothing after he is initially caught.
Xiu gonna find a sneaky Gwen in the alcove. Nice dodge there, but will it matter? Oh, he gets the Cinder, little speed boost. He flashes away, and he gets to safety. Lucid, now it's his turn to try to get away from this one. There's the Cyclone, just to try to get away from the Dow, which he does. Takes a bunch of damage on the backside.
Yeah, Raptor didn't get that audacious charge back in time. Gonna try to look for Xiu here, but Clear is backing. I think he's just free. Free to back. And a lot of pressure there with the attempt onto Xiu, the prio they had, but just well handled there by D+. Really nice second activation there from Lucid on the Cyclone. Might have been first activation, in fact, instead, but was able to block that engage and then get out. Showmaker is just going to be sitting down here in the side lane as well with everybody else topside. Clear didn't have the exhaust, just was not quite able to catch Xiu, who flashes at the exact right moment as he goes in for that final Q for the kill. Showmaker picks up some extra gold, and this lead here from D+ should make you feel pretty good about their chances here in what has often been the game 2, where it starts off okay, and then there's a bit of an incident. Maybe no incidents are going to happen. I'm starting to feel pretty good.
That's exactly the moment where things go wrong, you know that. But no, I'm on the same page. I do think that DK are they're just looking strong. It doesn't feel like a curse angle here in this game, but it's still close. I mean, BNK, they have a lot of objectives. Bit of damage here on a Kellen, as now Kellen going back in with a quickness. Lucid just gonna get McHale's by Barrel, first item.
Okay, Kellen was never really in any danger there, but tried to minimize the value of the ult there from aiming to mixed success.
Yeah, clear as needles, so Showmaker might be in a bit of trouble, but gonna get exhausted. Wow. That's a bunch more damage to come in, but the speed boost plus the phase rush, which is very, very strong, is gonna get him out to safety. Clear has just been so aggressive. Like, any angle he can find, he's all-inning onto something or someone. He's going all in on that turret and bot lane now.
Just quite, he's just not quite able to get the kills though. It's like they're just a little bit out of reach. It's like those old scissors in your elementary school that your teacher was like, cut this paper with your. I swear they don't cut the paper. Teacher's like, no, you have the same scissors as everyone else. I definitely don't, and I'm gonna get them from Anthony when he's done with his, because his work just fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, BNK on this Herald. Top side here, Lucid has his ult back up, but there's just no one else nearby. There's no ult for aiming, and they're just going to trade it for Showmaker grabbing this turret. But if BNK are quick about this, they can try to turn this Herald into a Drake take as well and put them on to Infernal Soul Point. Easier said than done, but you can see Raptor's already heading for that mid lane, and clearing this wave shouldn't take too long at all. Lucid backing, so this is a really perilous moment for D+. There's the Herald drop.
Yeah, I mean, this has to be the idea. Raptor is sticking around in mid, and so is Diablo, though. I feel like you just drop this and run at the Drake.
Yeah, and also, Vikla didn't have TP and stayed top lane to crash a big wave into that top turret, but I think D+ are fine with it, because now they can actually contest Dragons.
It's too slow?
Yeah.
Either you got to delay the Rift Herald push, or you have to start the Dragon right away.
They did neither, and now D+ are like, Lucid's back, he's got Cyclone.
Banana Brush control. Mostly going to the side of DK, although nicely done by BNK to push into that. Good job by Kellen to get that ward down, so might just be a straight up 5v5 here. The Charm, though, is going to hit on a Showmaker, but he's relatively tanky. In goes Raptor into that backline with the Rakan. They're going so deep to try to get Showmaker. It's not going to work out. The Equalizer is gigantic with the combo of the Orianna and the Wukong, just shutting that down immediately. Clear is doing a number here to see who lives on a sliver of health with the little shield at the end, just barely going to live. And now it looks like DK might have gotten it done. Bit of damage goes in a Barrel, but I don't think he really cares. He's used to it. And DK take a huge fight here.
Yeah, it looks like Diablo's got rubber arrowheads there as well, and Anthony did not give Clear the scissors. This fight is so broken up here by BNK, though, because as you mentioned, Charm hits. There's no damage on this Ahri, by the way. Look at the little lack of damage here. Raptor goes in. Showmaker just flashes away.
The Maokai ults.
Maokai ult zones, and then this ultimate here from Shiu means that Diablo and Kellen can't follow up on anything. The Cyclone buys all the space they need. If the follow-up is there from the Varus, as Clear is here, they might be able to get several kills here and actually win the fight, but the Equalizer does so much damage as well as zones. And then Shiu also just lives cherry on top here. So does Barrel after one more arrow will connect. And now D+ feeling firmly in control of this game, shutting down that Infernal Soul point, winning the fight, and this Gwen just is not making the impact that it needs to have in this team composition with the Ahri that just doesn't do damage with this Rod of Ages build.
The Ahri with the slowest Rod of Ages of all time, very far behind the Orianna. This was his pick into Showmaker's Orianna that was face up. And it's just not working. Lucy gonna find a friend here in the tri-brush. And yeah, it just the timing was off there. Clear up a level here. Shiu might be in a little bit of trouble, but
we know those
watch the phase
cut.
rush.
Yeah,
phase rush is just OP, man. I'm a big phase rush merchant. Big fan.
Everybody pretty much is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was a nice attempt again from Clear to try to get something done. He did not commit his exhaust this time, which I think is good because I don't think it would have been the kill there onto Shiu. I don't think it would have been the flash either, as Raptor is rooted, but should be fine. There's still a fight left in this game for BNK, but it's going to have to be on a positional error or some sort of, you know, risky side lane positioning where they get a kill before the fight breaks out, you know? As Vikla, he doesn't hurt people in this game.
Yeah.
He
saw him. Saw him with the sweeper, but he doesn't hurt.
Okay, hold on. Right. This could be that side lane pick, right? They get this pressure on the turret. You know, Shiu needs to answer. Maybe Kellen sets something up. Clear commits the exhaust. His needles aren't ready yet, but maybe with the exhaust, it's enough. Oh, Shiu, that's greedy. That's greedy.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to get the wave, but instead he's like, I want a bit more. He has his flash available. I think maybe that gets him out here. He's going to flash to his team as a bunch more needles go into him, but aiming and Lucid around the chase. There's the flash on in, the Cyclone as well. Aiming, gonna get collapsed on, but the Wukong just does enough for the zoning, and now Kellen in a bit of trouble. Oh, just gets shot down when the double kill comes through for aiming. Just really enjoying his life on this Jhin tonight.
I suppose Clear knew that he was gonna get Wukong ulted. That's why he didn't use exhaust to kill Shiu in that fight. Then used his exhaust to try to get away, but did not get away. And speaking of greed, Diablo.
Well, that was, yeah. You said it, and then he did something even more greedy, which was trying to flash over the ult, which he still would have died.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he
There's like a 0% chance he gets out, even if he gets over the ult.
Not sure if he would have been the best person on the Squid Game jump rope game with that one. So Clear comes here, gets the charm, gets the knockup, or sorry, Kellen does, and then Clear comes over here, gets the stacked Q, doesn't exhaust. Shiu gets away, and now he's like, oh, the rest of the team is coming. My jungler is a million miles away. Better exhaust now. And with Flash, the exhaust might not have been enough to get the kill, but he didn't even attempt it there. And it just felt like such a long con play. No. But it was such a long con play to try to get that pick, and then it didn't happen, and then they lost more, and now the game is probably done, right? Like I said, there's one more fight, maybe one more side lane angle. I think that's gone now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this one, Wolf. I think DK can pretty freely start up this Otacon. I don't even think it's that risky.
Look at the damage dealt for Vikla in this game. Or sorry, the lack thereof.
Hey, he did some. 6K. Yeah, same with Raptor. It just feels like, you know, the two of them haven't been able to do anything at all. So it's not like, yeah, CRE isn't the greatest and the build isn't the greatest, but still. That's going to be a lockdown. Nice charm here from the side of the Rakan. That's going to get them the 80 carry. Aiming just goes down. even with his cleanse. Now the follow-up here on Elucid, and now they're doing damage. Not, are they? Hey, he gets in, gets the reset as well. As Barrel desperate to try to shut that down, not going to be successful.
I was about to lose it if that wasn't enough damage to kill him. It was just barely, like you said, he gets the reset. And this is a huge win here, right before the Dragon. BNK finding a second lease on life here. I was already ready to sign off on the obituary in this one, as D+ will be able to at least trade this for a mid-turret, it looks like here. Otacon is up, and Clear does have TP. I'm feeling like that's probably a bridge too far here for D+ without a jungler, but the observers were kind of panning, and I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. But they get the mid-turret. Infernal Soul Point is quite powerful. That'll be some extra damage for the Ahri.
Yeah, it feels very good. Went for the Bloodletter's Curse.
That's
both
smart.
mid laners went for it, actually.
I think it's a very strong item.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with their compositions as well. Just kind of works out. You know, there have been times in the past where we weren't 100% happy with aiming playing stuff that didn't have escapes. I feel like that was one of those times here. It rears its ugly head again, unfortunately, where just kind of gets caught in a little bit of a ruler spot there in mid. I have to say, Kellen's engages on the Rakan have been very punishing. He's always seemingly been in the right spot. He was able to get that kill on the Showmaker earlier.
Diablo, you know, also pulling no punches, looking for some opportunities, doing some great follow-ups. D+ do have control over this Otacon in terms of vision and prio, and they're going to try to use that to actually now push this wave in and grab the turret, as BNK need to respond to the vision game. Clear backing before he TPs back in. We'll see what he can purchase here as he does. He's probably sitting on enough gold to grab something. Nope, just control ward. So he's sitting on 2 items. He's actually not going to go straight to this Otacon because D+ do concede the point here and give it up. Vikla? Okay.
He was hiding on Otacon. Very different from hide on bush.
So even though D+ have this 3,600 gold lead, you can see how much of a swing can happen in a game of Pro League of Legends off of just a few picks, right? Mid-turret goes down, some wards go up around the critical objective on top side, BNK get the Dragon for free with the timing. And now it feels like, okay, wait a minute, D+, they're still ahead, right? Like, they're still going to win this game, right? They have to play a lot more carefully. You know, your wallets are heavy, maybe, but you don't get to actually utilize them if you don't have vision, if you can't set up that Orianna Wukong engage because you can't see where the enemy champions are. The Varus has long range. I still think this is a good position here for D+, but right now, you know, for Otacon, BNK are in full control. Baron spawning at the same location, so you could see D+ are kind of scrambling to fight for that vision in a very careful way.
Going pretty all in onto Vikla, trying to force a Spirit Rush. It's not going to work.
He doesn't have TP, but I just don't think D+ can actually utilize this window to get Otacon. And I guess that was the game plan, is if we just shove him out, maybe we could start Otacon. Lucid's flank here is seen, and I think that Showmaker, I mean, obviously it's not the longest cooldown of all time here, but probably was hoping for more there.
I mean, there's so much control fighting going on up on the top side. We do have a TP to the ward directly in front of DK, as now they want to engage. Lucid just flashes away.
He already used his clone, and Vikla's TP comes up just in time, and no flash here on this makes it a lot tougher to utilize that combo, especially because Showmaker doesn't have his ult back up just yet. And starting the Otacon for either of these teams is just, it's a bridge too far, but they certainly are going to keep the other team interested. Like, if you don't show up, I certainly will.
Yeah.
And with both of our top laners sitting there with TPs, this is going to be a bit of a aggressive lull state where both teams are like, start it, you won't. I'm right here.
We're aggressively lull stating right
now.
Yeah.
They're going to aggressively just surf around this objective and buy control wards and back and buy more after they clear the enemy vision.
Yeah.
How many control wards we got here? We got 3. One was displaced. There was 4 on the side of BNK, 4 in the inventories here of D+, 5. It's a ward fight.
A lot of pretty boots are being purchased here by DK. So they're trying to use all of that little bit of gold that they have left to buy something that will actually make a big difference in the fight. So
Merc Treads upgraded into this Ahri Gwen composition is insanely strong. I think they're the best tier 3 boots right now. There's just so much value in this.
Yeah. And it's just perfect timing as well. Like, you want to spend all that gold as much as you possibly can. We saw the Infinity Edge finished by aiming as well, so that's really good timing for him. Death Cap would be huge.
Clear on a flank here. He's just going to get onto Shiu. If they could collapse onto him, he's got the blast cone.
All right, let's see how this is going to go. I mean, this Infernal is gigantic for both teams. DK need to deny it. BNK would love to get the Infernal Soul. Then the gold lead really doesn't matter. And maybe they're even ahead at that point.
Clear is also has to be very careful of overextending on this flank. Could be punished. Lucid's angle here, looking for Diablo, would be huge.
Gonna McHale's, and he gets away from that one. The equalizer is totally wide. Shiu just trying to survive. Kellen's gonna go down, but it's a trade for the jungler. As Vikla looking for those picks. The needles are coming out, and B&K, I think they've gotten themselves enough room to at least threaten this dragon. Big ult gonna come down. Trying to block here is Clear. Last shot, ooh, it's not gonna hit anyone. That's pretty big. The charm hits. Barrel nearly is gonna go down. We got TPs coming in. You see that DK do not want to give up this objective, but they do not have a jungler.
They don't have a jungler. All B&K need to do is secure the smite and get out. Clear gonna buy the space to do just that.
Yeah, they got the space. They got the charm as well. Shiu's just dead. And B&K, they pick up the Infernal Soul here. You see DK desperate for any little crumb on the backside of that fight, but they're not gonna get it.
I mean, at this point, watching some of the plays from Diablo this game and this season, this year, has just been insane. Watch the tightrope he walks in this fight here as he goes to look for the root on the barrel, pushes him back, flashes Lucid's engage, knows exactly where he is. Shiu panics here with his equalizer. I think if he pushes it up against the wall there, then the follow-up here becomes so much trickier to play out for B&K. But Diablo is actually just like, he's running the circus, man, and this one. He is him, does so much damage, nearly takes Barrel out here. They get the TP back in from Shiu, but he has no equalizer. There's no ults here for DK at all, and there's no jungler, so I think they should have been willing to just say, it's really unfortunate we're giving up the Infernal Soul, but I'd rather not give up more. They still stick around though, and this game now is no longer in their favor. I think that 3.5k gold lead they have is not enough to shore up what is an Infernal Soul, and now a very, very strong B&K composition. This game, I would give a pretty significant edge to B&K on now. And I mean, you look at some of the items that have come through here, sure, Vikla's still not the greatest damage dealer of all time, but he does have his rod completed. He's a level up on Showmaker. He's got that additional gold to grab an arm guard. There's so much playmaking potential here.
And clearly, the rest of the team is doing a lot of damage for him. You know, so he's kind of enabling everybody else. He's the one that looks for the picks with the Rakan, and then you've got Clear and Diablo on top of the damage charts by far, which for a Varus, Lethality Varus especially, it's not very surprising, but we've obviously seen how well Diablo's playing, and also Clear how aggressive he's been. It just kind of makes sense.
I mean, with the build here of Barrel, he's not normal Maokai. Like, he just dies to the poke of the Varus if he gets caught by anything. Yeah. He's support Maokai, so really needs to be respectful here on this pick. And once again, he's the target.
I mean, might as well. They're going pretty deep for this one, though. Raptor's going to realize that.
Clear does have TP, Shiu does not from the last fight. He's side lane hard.
There you go, that's exactly what you were talking about. They used their combo on a Kellen, but Diablo's in the front line with no flash. He's just gonna go down, but so does Lucid, who seems to be the guy that goes down first in every fight. Shiu as well in a lot of trouble. They burst him down with that Infernal Soul.
I mean, the fact that D+ had to kind of commit to something there just shows you how desperate they are in this game with Baron up. Vikla going in.
Showmaker trying to flash over, and he gets charmed instead. Vikla, he is playing an excellent game of Ahri tonight himself.
I mean, at this point, we gotta put a Leaguepedia page for the D+ curse of game 1 to game 2 to lose game 3. Like, what is happening, Valdez? They had such a good position in this one. Barrel going in.
Okay, just gonna try to kill Raptor here. Doesn't have his ult, just kind of dies. So
bit of a sundered sky check though. Like, how broken is this item? Okay,
yeah.
It's not that
about
broken.
That curse wolf. I don't know.
So
B&K are also really good at running at them.
look at this fight setup here for D+, and look at where the Gwen is who TP's in. If they don't try to make a play here and contest vision around this, eventually Gwen just takes out their inner and then eventually takes out their inhibitor turret, right? So otherwise B&K could just kind of play, we're going to play ping pong with vision here around this and the Gwen will win the game. Vikla makes this attempt here. Block here from Showmaker is not necessarily what he wanted. Then things get a little bit weird after this, where Raptor just clears a blue trinket and then decides how broken Thunder is. Otacon does go over to DK.
Yeah, I mean, Raptor just died for free, so based on the respawns, they just run at the objective, so that's pretty big. I mean, it's definitely not as big as Infernal Soul.
Kellen dying would be big also.
Yep, he's gonna try to flash out of this one. There's the quickness as well. And he gets away because he's Rakan, but...
Showmaker does not press R. I think a lot of Orianas there would have, but C's like, oh, he's just barely out of the range. Would have been huge if he got away and also got Showmaker's ult.
I mean, this is... It kind of feels like anybody's game at this point. It's really weird because B&K were just kind of trashing them in the last 2 or 3 fights, but not the case in the last 2 minutes as DK got a kill and then got a massive objective.
It's a massive objective in an earlier game state, but at 30 minutes in, like, if you look at the XP bars across the board, like, aiming got a lot out of it, but everyone else is still relatively close, if not behind, in Showmaker's case. So, you know, it's not like that objective for D+ is going to wash away the Infernal Soul. Like you said, that one is way more valuable. Elder, the most valuable, and D+ are so far away from that. Clear's angle.
They have no idea. Showmaker in a lot of trouble here. He's not going to be able to use the disengage cone. He just dies just like that. There's a lot of damage into the members here, but, oh, Equalizer as well. I mean, they're poking him down. She was tanking the front line, and he goes into his Zhonya's, but, oh, very nice flash, actually going to get away from the charm. And a chance for DK to win a 4v5. Pushes B&K back away from the objective.
Oh, these charms keep missing. Ult here from aiming. Ooh, Raptor!
Raptor! Oh, the snipes from aiming are gigantic! Absolutely massive. And Elder spawns in 10 seconds, guys.
This is the worst possible scenario for B&K. If they just avoided some of those, if that charm just hits, then they could just come over here and take this. TP from Shield, he doesn't have ult, but they have full control. Raptor not dying means he has smite. He's got flash.
He's getting health from the jungle. There's a chance. Oh, Raptor, he's gonna... Oh, no, he gets burst down by aiming. The one guy who says, no curse for me. Aiming wants to go home after a 2-0. It might not happen, though, because Clear cleans up 2 of them on the backside as we were watching the left side of the fight. And aiming is still him, but, like, I don't know. It looks like they will get this Elder Drake.
I don't think he can stop it. He's just going to back away. D+ get this. But what a cacophony of errors from B&K. I mean, aiming, he fishes for it, right? Like, he looks for the angle. He's trying so desperately to make an impactful play. He's sitting on, what, 5 kills at this point in time on the Jhin. And, you know, it ends up really paying off as this was such a great catch onto Showmaker, but the equalizer is why D+ can actually continue to have play after this one, because he also has his Zhonya's, right? So he can survive, he has TP, he can come straight back into the fight. The flash timing on the charm, amazing there. And that saves the game for D+, because if he doesn't hit that, I think it's 100% Elder. And then this is just obscene. The prediction there on the jump back to Diablo means Kellen dies. And the Raptor here just...
Aiming is playing the game of his life right now.
Yeah, I mean, he is about to get D+, potentially a 2-0 victory. But Clear is able to stop the Elder, slow it down. Baron up, Exodia on the cards here for the side of D+.
I mean, as B&K, even with Infernal Soul, you can't approach.
You can't get close enough. They don't have any vision. All they can do is put Clear in the side lane and hope he can get that inner. That's the only exchange I could foresee going over to B&K. He is going to get it, but I mean, D+ arguably don't even necessarily have to back here off the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they're losing a lot of time on their Elder, but...
Another turret goes down to mid as well.
Looks like they kind of want to clean up the waves and maybe push with the Baron, but a minute left on Elder. I feel like maybe they could have just gone top. Like, look at this wave.
Yeah, I think it's
interesting idea.
It's a habitual choice to just back after Baron, but
I mean, they probably had a ton of gold.
they have a ton of gold,
so-
obviously, and there's a Gwen that's pushing the side. Someone has to answer that, but I do think they could have tried to prep that top wave with some of their players and then take the back, with TP available for Showmaker. Either way, the end result is they still have Baron. They still have an insane push here, still in a game-winning position, but the Elder, one of their bigger prizes, only has 30 seconds left, and BNK is going to sit back and try to use this Varus to clear these waves to buy time.
Yeah.
That
ton of
still
damage.
hits hard. Yeah.
Insane amount of damage. I mean, they're going to be able to... Ooh, okay, Mikhails comes down. As everything in the kitchen sink is being thrown at BNK, just trying to push them away.
Equalizer a bit early there. Doesn't get the value he's looking for. And so they get the inner, but now the Elder's gone.
Yeah. Still Baron for a minute 45, but certainly not the value they were looking for.
Certainly not. I mean, look at the mid push. Like, they don't even have mid control. Showmaker's here with Maokai back up, but he isn't sieging this turret, and this is not a very successful Baron here in terms of the real base-breaking damage with Exodia that you expect to see. Aiming has his Scimitar now. He knows he is the main character. He is the main target with Mikhails and Cleanse as well. He is going to be hard to lock down. I fear for D+ in that I thought that was just the end, and yet it wasn't. If the equalizer from Shiyu is just slightly better, maybe they could get the inhibitor broken.
It's just, yeah, I mean, they have to, like, force a hard fight, right? Like, they have to... This is what we were talking about at the very beginning of the game. So, by the way, Majai's 10 stacks picked up by Vikla. He's got that movement speed.
Clear on a flank will be seen by the captive audience, so not necessarily going to work out here, but every single time Diablo hits a prio target with poke, the chances of this push continuing dwindle, and we're now down to 30 seconds left on this Baron. Vikla could be the target here.
Charm gonna land. Oh, God.
And the wave is just cleared, so they couldn't get him, they couldn't catch him there with the flourish, and now the wave is gone. And D+ get one more wave.
They're engaging onto aiming. He doesn't have his flash, but he lives. They don't have the damage follow-up. They might have been up here. None of that front line, but it's just the clone. Another arrow is going to hit aiming, but now Diablo's dead. As he pushed up way too far to try to get that kill. And his aggressiveness is going to bite him in the butt as down goes Raptor as well. Kellen just desperate to save his team. It's not going to happen. And D+ Kia, they have finally done it here in game number 2. They have broken the curse. And they will move on to a victory.
Yeah, so a little bit of Scimitar value there for aiming as he does survive. The last kill will be on to Vikla. And despite the best attempts here from BNK, despite the Infernal Soul, they are not able to close this one out. D+, some crazy circumstances in this one, some risky plays, definitely playing on the edge. But that last fight does not go BNK's way, and D+ will punish and grab a 2-0. A much-needed bounce back after the loss to Breon earlier in the week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely a good look for D+ Kia. BNK played them very close. You see a lot of friendly taps there for Kellen, obviously former teammate on DK. But at the end of the day, this is... It's kind of what we expect from D+ Kia and the Rise group. We expect a lot of 2-0s. This is a team that should be ahead of the rest of the pack. Was a bit close, but it's still a good sign that things are heading in the right direction. Because if they lose here again, I mean, your mental just goes out the window, the metaphorical window. Like, it would just be kind of over after a 0-2 week, but turn it around is a big shout. BNK, I mean... Again, it's hard. Like, they had so many advantages and so many ways that they could have potentially won this game number 2, and it kind of, as he says he's cold. It just feels like BNK, again, it's kind of like the macro decisions and playing too overly aggressive that just continues to be their bane.
It was certainly not the bounce back series for D+ that makes you feel like this is the same form that we saw from them at the beginning of the year. There were certainly some worrying signs. There were certainly some decisions that were made that made a lot of D+ fans hold their breath. I mean, I said like maybe we were going to see the curse again. I thought after that Infernal Soul went over, after that fight next to Baron, that it was just going to end up being a, Diablo POM, maybe they win game 3 as well in a one-sided affair. Like, it started to feel like we were going in that same pattern. They are able to win it in the end, but D+ fans probably have a lot to say about how it happened. You know, if you're a fan of a team and you get a win like this, you're like, oh, thank God. However, there are a lot of things we need to talk about. You know, you're going to be sitting in your D+ Discord, talking to your friends and fellow fans going, man, I don't know. We should be drafting like this. So it wasn't as clean as it could have been. But I think there were great moments for every single player, right? Like, Shiyu had that one amazing equalizer, right? Lucid had some phenomenal engages and punishes. Showmaker, his TF game, amazing. His Orianna engages the follow-up with Lucid, great. Aiming's positioning on Senna, so fantastic. They couldn't catch him. His Jhin game here, crazy.
The clutch, yeah. Just insane stuff. And then Beryl. I mean, he had some moments. I think his Maokai was actually, his ults were pretty good. I think it was in the right place a lot of the time.
I mean, he
didn't get caught all that often, right? It's an upgrade.
Like, he almost died so many times. He was the target often of Diablo in this game. But at this point, like, I was looking at him like, oh, Beryl was caught again. Oh, I looked at his scoreline. He had 0 deaths. I was like, oh, okay, I guess he keeps almost getting caught, and it doesn't matter. But it's fights like this where you can see D+, the coordination is there at their best moments, which is one of the concerns I had coming into the series, and they look much better today than they did against Bro. Also, coordination in this type of really chaotic situation is great.
Look at Diablo. He's going to move up here, try to land, flashes forward to try to kill Aiming, dies immediately.
And Aiming's not even close to death there on the play.
Yeah.
Bit of an overextension.
Like, maybe. But then you're like trading your flash and your life, so it's just not.
It was a Diablo moment, you know? You look for the big plays, and sometimes it costs you big as well.
And it definitely did.
Bit of a quiet comms there.
Yeah, not a whole lot else said. Aiming did more damage than Diablo.
So many of those curtain calls just going exactly the right way. Like, when he got all those picks right before Elder, I was like, I mean, the stars aligned for this guy. And he aimed incredibly well. He predicted Kellen's dash, was able to get the punish there. I can't say really a bad thing about aiming across this series. Yeah, he did get caught that one time on that early fight in game 1, but that was a team decision. Otherwise, just crystal clear gameplay. And Showmaker will pick up the POM. I think in part, mostly in part to that TF game.
Yeah, I mean, the TF was great. I think his Orianna was good too. The shockwaves were where they needed to be. He didn't have the most impressive KDA, but it's kind of the way that Orianna works in these kind of compositions. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Orianna as we see more Wukong, more Rakan, more of this stuff. And it's supreme comfort for any of our guys that have been around for a very long time in the LCK, which includes Showmaker. So definitely going to be seeing a lot more of that.
I'm happy to see him bounce back and to give an interview today after what was a really rocky start for him right after his birthday earlier in the week. So there's so many Showmaker fans everywhere, you know, so many Showmaker fans from when he was ruling the world with his TF, who are probably excited to see what he has to say here at the beginning of round 2, or round 3 rather.
Yeah, I do want to know what he's going to say. That sign behind Wolf's head said she's going to quit her job if DK wins today. So I guess she has to. It's on the sign, right?
Yeah. I guess enjoy your freedom.
Well, there you go. Guys, we do have the POM interview ready. I'm going to hand it over to Deer for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Deer for the POM interview translation, joined by Showmaker on the side of D+ Kia. Showmaker, you know that BNK FuryX had 100% win rate for Saturday showdowns until today, and you broke it. So how do you feel? I actually noticed how bad our win rate was for Saturday showdowns were, so I was a little concerned at first, but I'm glad that we're able to win today. And last match was a heartbreaking loss, so it must have left a lot to be desired. What did you guys talk about as a team? And whenever we lose, I think we always tend to lose our advantages. So I think we really try to refine and make sure that we are able to take the most, get the most out of our advantage when we are ahead. And game 1 was a victory through macro plays led by your Twisted Fate. You must be happy that TF meta is back. How do you feel? You know, most recently TF was actually nerfed, and I didn't think that TF was a meta pick, so not much thought lately about him. You know, it's always key to hit your gold card as a Twisted Fate. So how are you so consistent? Is there any secret to pulling gold cards? You know, it's actually iffy. Sometimes you have to just double tap W, just have to instantly get the gold card. But as long as you're focused and when you are super concentrated, it is possible. And in game 2, you had a great Orianna game, a great early objective control as your Orianna scaled. And honestly, it really stood out how you utilized your power spike in the laning phase during objective timers. Yeah, Orianna and laning phase and really playing around the objective timers is actually a high difficulty, high skill play when it comes to just playing Orianna in general. But I think we're able to pull off our win through objective and macro plays just based on what we had practiced in the past. And your newly joined coach, CV Max, said that you guys are practicing and trying new things. And he's very involved in games. So what has changed since Coach CV Max joined? You know, as a lot of people know, he's a very passionate person. So we're actually all consistently trying to focus on improving one step at a time. D plus Kia has to defend the throne of Rise group. So what is your mindset moving forward? You know, it's all cumulative starting from round 1 and 2 as well. So I think we're actually in a good spot starting out in round 3. I think over time, we hope to get more experience to be able to do a good job and be strong in best of 5s. It's been a while, but you recently celebrated your birthday, so congratulations again. And you might have already seen, there was a fan that said that she's quitting her job if DK wins today. And that's just how supportive the DK fans are. So any word for your fans? Yeah, I'm always grateful that you guys are always supportive. And whenever we tend to falter, we are able to pick ourselves back up thanks to all of our fans. And I hope you get a lot of unemployment and enjoy your break from work. Thank you. And that's the end of the interview with Showmaker, and back to the space. Thank you.